welcome to Amrita by the Book. My name is Amrita and this is my booktube, and today I'll be doing the F 2020 book tag. I was tagged to do this by Lady Jane Books, who is a real lady, and therefore the F in F 2020 stands for Forget 2020. I haven't even done this yet and I'm already having a great time. Question 1 is share some good stuff that has happened in 2020 and some bad stuff if you want. Well, the bad stuff is easy. It was the pandemic. I've been a shut-in. I am really mourning the loss of the life that I lead and I love. But the good thing has been that I launched my YouTube channel, and through it, I was able to save my sanity. I met loads of new people. As a person who came of age on the internet and finds a deep joy in participating in online communities, and I don't care how nerdy or lame that makes me sound, I really like it. I like interacting with people all around the world. I like to see how people are living. I like to see what they're reading. I like to see what they think. And being online and being a part of online communities has really enriched me over the years and has taught me things that I otherwise would have never had an occasion to even encounter. And I love it, you know, and I would never have thought about getting on YouTube or starting a channel if 2020 hadn't happened. So that's been amazing. Another side effect of being stuck at home is that I've been forced to reach out and just try and keep more in touch with my friends. So I've had calls with people that I haven't previously called, you know, in years, because it feels like I might never see them again. And I feel like that's a really terrible reason to reach out to people, and I've been kicking myself for not being a better friend. But it's also been lovely to see who has reached out, who has been checking up on me, to see how much, you know, my friends value me as much as I value them. Like, that's been wonderful. Would I want to ever repeat 2020? Probably not, but we can all hope that this year is going to be different, and we can take the things that have been good about 2020 into the new year while forgetting the rest of it. What book did you love at the beginning of the year? So around this time last year, I discovered KJ Charles and her Goodreads review page, and she recommended this book called Sumiko and the Enslaved Fox by a writer called Forthright. And I'd never heard of Forthright before. They're apparently a very successful fanfic writer, and even as I record this video, there is all this Twitter drama that has been unfolding over the past week about fanfic writers and whether they're any good, and it's really just this one person who is constantly trying to get attention, I feel. And the only reason I even knew that it was unfolding is because genuine, successful, published authors, most of them from a non-fanfic writing background, stepped up to defend the honor of fanfic, and that's the kind of world that I want. But Sumiko and the Enslaved Fox is a sort of retelling of Japanese fairy tales, and it is delightful. It is, for my money, the best book in the series. It's the beginning of a particular series about this world in which these fairy tale characters and they're helpers or witches. Like, you know, in Western mythology, I think they would be more akin to witches, but in this particular world, they work in concert with these fairy tale characters to sort of keep a magical balance in the world. And there's also a big bad out and about in the world, and we're not sure exactly what their aim is as of, you know, the 4 or 5 books that have been out already. And Forthright is an excellent writer. They do really great work building relationships. A lot of them are slow burn relationships, and they're delightful. They kind of remind me of old school clean romance, but it's also fantasy. It's great. A book you were looking forward to that ended up being not great. So I did DNF a few books this year, and there were others that I didn't really care for, but I think my greatest disappointment was this bunch of novellas that I got off somebody's recommendation on Twitter. Honestly, it serves me right for just trusting some random's recommendations, but I was trying to be fun and adventurous and try something new because the world was coming to an end, and oh boy, did it teach me. So the thing that I've come to realize is that fantasy and romance use novellas for very different purposes. So over the past year, I've been really into fantasy novellas, and they've been some of my best buys over the past year. I'm really obsessed by them, and I've discovered so many great new authors, and I've spoken about them multiple times on this channel. And I was hoping for something similar with romance, like the idea of romance novellas, especially with my attention, which has been, the span has been increasing and decreasing at odd moments depending upon my levels of anxiety. And I really wanted novellas. And I found this list of novellas, and it looked really great because it included African American authors, queer authors, and I was like, wow, this is like a really diverse list, and it's romance and it's novellas, all things that I'm looking forward to. And I got it, and I immediately noticed that most of those recommendations were on Kindle Unlimited. And I have come to realize over the course of reading these that romance novelists do this thing which in theory is very smart, and if I'd known this beforehand, I feel like I would have had a better experience. But they use Kindle Unlimited as a kind of promotional unit. So a lot of the romance novellas that you'll find on Kindle Unlimited are actually erotica. So they're sort of advertising, hey, if you buy my book, then these are what the steamy scenes look like. Aren't they great? Now come read my full-length novel. And that's a great strategy, especially because a lot of romance readers really want steamy romances. And I like steamy romance. I like erotica, like I have no problems with that. It's just that I was expecting more romance, and this was straight up like 2-3 pages of setup and then straight into the boinking. And that was not what I was looking for at the time. So it's really my bad. It's not really their fault, but that was a disappointment. A book that surprised you this year. I did a buddy read with Rosie for Lavitida, who is a bright new sensation in the world of publishing. Actually, he's not even that new. He's been publishing for a while, and he's won pretty much every award out there. And Rosie didn't have a really great time with the book that she chose for the buddy read, but I had a really great time for the book that I was reading. And it's called By Force Alone, and it's an King Arthur retelling. And I don't really care for that entire genre, like Arthurian folk tales and retellings and legends. It's not something that really appeals to me, so I picked it up and I didn't know that that was what it was. And I told Rosie that, I don't know if I'm going to like it. And then she went into reading her book, which is Central Station, which is a science fiction book. And she thought she was going to have a great time, and actually we just ended up having completely different experiences. Like, she thought she was going to have a great time and she ended up hating the book, and I thought I was going to have a wild time, and I ended up really enjoying my book. Just one of those things. A book you like but nobody else does or talks about enough. Fantasy novellas. They have been my big discovery this past year, like the level of writing, world building, and I think a lot of people have issues with the fact that they're novellas, so they're expecting more bang for their buck, or they think that it should be, there should be more details, or it should be expanded, or things like that. But I think there is a form to the novella, and it is brilliant to read people who really know how to use that form and to utilize it best for their storytelling. I've talked about multiple ones on my channel, and I think I'm going to make a playlist of them for those who are interested. But if you're a fantasy reader and you're looking to find new authors, I highly recommend those. Or if you're not a fantasy reader but you'd like to get a taste for fantasy, then again, I recommend fantasy novellas. A book you want to come out already this year. There are tons of books that I can't wait to read in 2021. A lot of them are sequels to books that I read in 2020. But if you go on my Instagram, I actually have a list of reels that I've been doing for the past few weeks about books that are being published in 2021. Most of them by debut authors or by established authors who are trying something new. And I got the idea of something somebody said on Twitter about how 2020 was such a bad year for new authors, and 2021 is going to be similarly bad because we're all still in lockdowns around the world. I just wanted to do something supportive, and also these are books that I genuinely think I would like and would be interested in reading. So there's a whole list of them on my Bookstagram if you're interested. But the specific examples that I'd like to give here today are actually sequels. There is a sequel to a memory called Empire by Arkady Martin, and it's called A Desolation Called Peace, and it's colonialism in space. And I really love the first installment. It's a duology. I can't wait to see how this particular story is going to be wrapped up. I've spoken about it before, like not A Desolation Called Peace, but the first book in the series, and you can check it out if you're interested. And then, of course, the one big book that really spoke to me last year was The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. And book 2 is coming out in 2021, I think later this year. And I don't think it even has a title or a cover. It's just called Thursday Murder Club 2. And I can't wait to see where the story is headed. And the third book that I'm really looking forward to is the third installment of Slippery Creatures by KJ Charles. I don't think she has a name for it so far, and I know she's been struggling with it because I actually pinged her on Twitter and was kind of bothering her about it, and she was like, I'm just kind of stuck with it. But there are indications, like hopeful indications, that she's working through it, so I'm really looking forward to book 3. What book were you looking forward to that got pushed to 2021? I really wanted to read Jade City sometime around the time that it was published because everyone that I respect was really raving about it. But then it just got added to the TBR and pushed and pushed and pushed. And now it's going to be 2021 before I actually get around to reading it. Which isn't a shame. I mean, I don't have any problems with the books that I read in 2020. And it's always nice to have things on your TBR that you're especially looking forward to. Finally, what book will you think of when you think of 2020? Weirdly enough, I think I'm going to be thinking about War and Peace. This is a book that was my white whale. I have wanted to read this for a long time and I somehow never got around to it. And then last year I did the Try a Chapter vlog, and I'd never vlogged before, and honestly it was a terrible experience. 10 on 10 would not recommend. Or rather, I really like the concept of that particular vlog, and I might do a version of it that is different from the one that I tried in 2020 because I really like the concept. But it was really great because when I read the first chapter, that was not the tone that I expected, and it was a completely different experience than I thought I would have, and it was a happy surprise, and I really enjoyed it. And it also, Lana and I had one of our first conversations off YouTube about it, and it was great. Like, she reached out, she was so kind and she was so fun, and she really made me want to read it all the more. And it's these tiny acts of friendship that make life so much better than, if you didn't have any friends. And now whenever I think about War and Peace, I'll think about Lana, I'll think about the pandemic of 2020 when I launched my YouTube channel, I'll think about the friends that I made, I'll think about learning new skills, about stretching myself, about doing something creative for the first time in years for myself, because so much of my work requires me to do things that are creative that it just leached all my attention and my energy for so many years. And then all of a sudden in 2020, I had the time and the energy to do something. And it's been a journey. And again, I have to thank all of you for being with me for this. Right, it's time to tag a few people, and I'm gonna tag Rosie because I love to add to her schedule. I'm gonna tag Nikki because it's been a while. I'm gonna tag Sunny Luca because I always want to see more from her. I'm gonna tag Gunpowder Fiction and Plot for the first time. And I'm gonna tag Hey Y'all Listen Up, a brand new friend. Thank you all for watching as always, and if you like the questions, if you like the concept and I didn't tag you, then it's entirely my bad. Please do it. Do it in my comments, take it off YouTube, make it an Instagram prompt. Just let me know so that I can come check it out. And with that, let us never speak of 2020 again. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.